pána Davida Colebatcha, CEO a foundera spoločnosti Tidal. Názov jeho prezentácie: Maximalizácia návratnosti, investícií, vašej migrácie. To je jeho čas. Nebudeme ho vítať, ale vy si to môžete užiť.
Today's business leaders are paying more attention to 3 words in their proposals than at any point in the past decade: return on investment. In this period of higher interest rates, the phrases cutting costs and doing more with less are heard daily and are often used as business drivers for cloud. Some organizations achieve incremental gains over 3 to 4 year cloud migration programs, saving 10% here and 12% there. Sadly, some organizations see their costs blow out considerably and realize no business benefit at all. Today though, I want to share with you how successful enterprises and public sector organizations think about cloud and give you the same tools and tactics that these outliers are using in order to be able to achieve as much as a 97% reduction in operating expenses while improving both customer experiences and the daily lives of their staff. First up, let's review the most common drivers for cloud. For much of the last decade, the emphasis has been on cost savings, and these cost savings were to be realized from a cheaper way to run servers. The thought process went along the lines of, I don't need to manage my own data center or hardware anymore, so it must be cheaper. For some organizations, that was actually true. They were so inefficient on premises that without optimizing anything at all, they could save money by moving everything that they had to the cloud. For most large organizations though, this was not the case. In fact, in Australia, we have seen some classic cloud yo-yo maneuvers, one being the Commonwealth Bank's early adoption of public cloud. After a few years of just running servers in the cloud, they found the VM sprawl they were used to on premises actually cost them real money in the public cloud, so they pivoted and invested in private cloud with the OpenStack technology. Now this continued until around 2020, when a leadership change gave them the ability to recognize the learnings of the past few years and approach cloud in a much more transformative way. This isn't to pick on CBA at all, in fact they're well on their way now. It's just an example of this common pattern where we in IT fail to work backwards from business drivers and recognize the people and organizational changes that are required in order to embrace new technology and achieve business outcomes. Which brings me to the more common drivers for cloud that we have seen in the last 2 years. The first 2 here are often described crudely as do more with less and do it faster. And I think the reason for these becoming more prevalent is the increasing competitive pressures on businesses in the current market. In the public sector, the pressure for speed is also on, with governments needing to implement policy changes much more quickly than ever before. To solve these challenges in the past, it might have been tempting to throw more people at projects and go faster that way, but in the last 4 years, we have had both a talent shortage with big tech dominating the labor market, and now recessionary pressures causing hiring freezes and layoffs in the order of 30,000 jobs per month for the past year and a half in the US tech sector alone. So, more than ever, businesses want to do more with less by enabling the teams that they do have with as much new cloud-based self-service technology and high productivity tooling like GitHub's Copilot and AWS Code Whisperer. The last driver we see here is increasing resiliency and security. And we're particularly seeing this driver more often in the public sector. Where I think that's coming from is that some of our most critical government organizations have for years depended on single data center deployments for core business applications. In some cases, the most mission-critical workloads did have disaster recovery capabilities with third-party data centers, and these plans would get tested once a year in a fire drill type of activity. That's expensive, and no one enjoys the fact that the tests are always high pressure on IT teams and, as a result, disruptive to service delivery because everyone's off-site executing DR. I think with today's heightened geopolitical tensions, as well as citizens' expectations for round-the-clock digital services, the resiliency and security of these applications has demanded that organizations implement not just off-site DR, but geographic redundancy with near real-time failover for many applications. Now, with these new drivers well understood, let us take a closer look at how we in IT have approached cloud migration in the past. I've spoken with many teams over the past 10 years about cloud migration strategies, And one of the most interesting observations for me has been the shifting mindset of people going into cloud programs. While it is great to see the majority of organizations have progressed their thinking away from lift and shift only and really learned from the failures of the early adopters, most people still tend to look at their cloud strategy as one of either rehost or modernize. Most people will characterize the rehost or lift and shift as quick and easy to execute, but expensive to run. And they will describe modernization as expensive to implement, time-consuming, but cheaper to run. Now, these are very high-level statements and quite dangerous to use when setting strategy in a fast-paced technology project, as they limit the options available to those charged with executing the migrations. The reality of cloud migration is that there are rubrics that can be applied to your application portfolio to determine the best migration path that each application should take, based on your business goals and drivers. Weighing the hundreds of data points about your application's technology and the business value it delivers, the outcome of these analyses results in a 6-hour assessment that looks more like this. Here you can see a spectrum of migration methodologies that offer their own value proposition to the business. They each require different levels of effort to implement, and with the daily advancement of cloud technologies, it is no longer safe to assume that a rehost migration requires less time than, say, a replatform migration. And this is a critical point. The native application platforms that the cloud providers offer now are so good that it is often faster to simply redeploy your code on, say, AWS Lambda or Azure Functions than it is to architect a rehost migration that brings with it all the technology debt of our on-premises servers, as well as the spaghetti of firewall rules that are required to make applications work. Similarly, advancements in developer productivity from new languages and application frameworks, as well as AI-assisted development environments, mean that refactoring that workload to the cloud is much faster than in the years and many millions of dollars initially spent building them on J2EE or .NET. Plus, you have a working prototype now, so it should be faster. Now, I want to highlight some concrete lessons learned that you can take away and apply to your own cloud journeys. There are many, but focusing on the top 3 highlighted here, the first one speaks to how slow it can be to implement the kind of changes needed in your organization in order to realize the business benefits of cloud. At every turn, people will cling to their current processes and architectural standards as excuses for not changing. Yet many organizations implement cloud-first strategies and expect that just switching out the underlying x86 servers to cloud-based ones will make a difference to their business. No, we know this now. You have to treat cloud as a new operating paradigm. The second lesson learned is around building cloud-agnostic platforms, or any orchestration technology really that you self-manage and deploy. You see, after the cloud-first mantra didn't work out for those organizations who failed to change the way they do IT, the spotlight turned to technology and caused a pivot away from cloud-first to cloud-smart. These organizations said we need to remain cloud-agnostic and have our workloads running just as well on premises as they do in AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud. And thus the rise of the Kubernetes engineering team was born. Customers have spent millions of dollars on creating superfluous orchestration layers when all 3 major cloud providers offer not just turnkey managed Kubernetes clusters, but also many other flavors of application deployment technologies for developers to choose from. It's not simply adding value to your business if you're constantly reinventing the platform wheel. The last lesson learned that I want to highlight is the conflicting hesitation and bravado around staffing that we hear from sometimes the same customer. Hearing, "I don't have the people to do cloud," is equally as scary as someone new to cloud saying, "I have all the people, I don't need any help at all." The first demonstrates perhaps a reluctance to embrace new technology for fear of the unknown. With the right technology partners and a build with model, technology teams can quickly learn new skills and be capable to continue innovation and optimization post-migration. The latter, though, when heard from inexperienced teams who haven't done cloud before, introduces risk to project schedules, ROI, and quite often data security. One of the key recommendations for teams new to cloud is to engage with a trusted partner. And if cost is the issue, find a partner who can leverage funding programs and demonstrate a positive ROI for their engagements. And if you need recommendations, please reach out. Each of these pain points negatively impacts the ROI of your cloud migration program, and can have dire consequences for the business. In order to maximize the ROI of your migration, you need to both recognize the people change management requirements as well as implement a data-driven approach to migration planning that allows you to forge a path through change-resistant people. As an example of this, leveraging the data-driven insights of Tidal Accelerator, customers have saved over 97% in their operating expenses and dramatically reduced their maintenance and licensing costs by optimizing their workloads as they migrate. Optimization comes in many forms, be it retiring 60% of those on-premises workloads without migrating them, reducing code by 90% by adopting cloud-native services over custom software, and of course also through software license optimization. These are real examples that are achievable across industry verticals and public sector.
So thank you very much. I have a special offer for you today. If you'd like to find out how you can qualify for a no-cost optimization assessment, please grab that big QR code or the URL tidally/qualify. We'd love to take you through a program if you qualify, which provides you with 12 months access to the Tidal Accelerator software, as well as a white glove assessment conducted by our team to show you exactly what you stand to save. Thanks again, and I look forward to connecting with you.
CEO a founder spoločnosti Tidal David Colebatch bol tým posledným dnešným speakerom v rámci konferencie Cloudy s podtitulom Podpora inovácií v cloude.